Now, as an African parent living abroad or living in the UK, one of the challenges that I faced is trying to teach my kids about my culture, because they are growing up in a different environment. They didn't grow up in Zimbabwe like I did. They don't have the same experiences, the same background as I do. So when it comes to me trying to teach them or trying to make them understand about our culture, our way of life, in the way that I understand our culture and our way of life, is difficult. It is challenging. And one of the ways that I do that, or that I make life easier for myself, is I let them watch African movies. I have introduced them to African movies, Nigerian movies, movies from South Africa, Zimbabwean movies, and movies from other African countries. It is because I want them to see our way of life. I want them to experience that. Unfortunately, I'm now a bit disappointed by our African movies. I don't want to lie to you, because the things that I'm seeing, or the portrayal of our way of life, of our people in these movies, leaves a lot to be desired. So anyway, I just want to say this before I get into the video. If there's one thing that I'm really passionate about, it is Africa. If you watch my videos about Africa on this channel, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, I posted 2 videos on TikTok talking about the subject that I want to talk about in this video. And I thought, you know what? This message is too important not to post it on this channel as well. So this is why I'm coming on here to talk about the subject. And that subject is regarding how our identity, our Black identity or African identity, is portrayed in the movies by African producers. Now, instead of me making another video talking about the same things that I talked about on TikTok, I'm simply going to let you watch the videos that I posted on TikTok. Now, what I've done is I've put the 2 clips together. Now, what I'm looking for from you, or what I'm asking for, is for us to start a conversation about this. I want to hear your thoughts about what I talked about in those videos, because as I said, I feel that this subject is too important for us to ignore it. Now, in the last couple of months, I have been watching a lot of African movies, very entertaining, well produced and everything. However, I noticed something quite concerning about all the movies that I've watched. I would say 99% of all the rags to riches movies that I've watched, African produced, set in Africa. In all those movies, the women, African women portrayed in those movies, start off with their natural hair. Now, there are 2 scenarios that I've watched. The first scenario is that African woman grows or comes from a poor family. She struggles to get an education. Her parents do everything they can to send her to school. And fast forward, when she gets a career during her rich era, that woman now has a wig. The second scenario is an African woman, humble beginnings, and then she meets a rich man who marries her. And then all of a sudden, that beautifully styled African hair or natural hair is gone. She's now wearing a wig, all kinds of wigs, blonde, straight, silky, straight, and everything. So as I watched these African movies, I was like, hang on a minute. Why is it that African women are portrayed with their natural hair during their humble beginnings era, when they are poor, and then during their rich era, they wear a wig? That natural hair, we never see it. Don't get me wrong. This is not about wearing a wig. This is not about choice. I wear a wig sometimes when I can't be bothered. So it's not about that. It's about what we're intentionally showing and telling our people, our children. As I said, it's not about choice. It's about the portrayal of it. To me, that is a problem, because as we all know, one of the ways to influence people, one of the ways to shape perceptions, shape opinions, is through media. What we watch, what we listen to, that shapes how we see ourselves. So why is that natural hair is tied to poverty and struggle? It's unattractive and whatnot. Why in 2025 are we doing this? Why are we perpetuating this narrative that our hair is not good enough? Our hair doesn't fit in certain spaces, doesn't fit the boardroom. Why are we repeating these narratives? Mind you, these movies are produced by African people. So it's not about other people who are doing that. We are doing it to ourselves. Why are we doing that? I mean, I don't get it. I really don't get it. No wonder we look down on ourselves. No wonder that self-hate runs deep in Africa. It is crazy. So my question is, Why are we pushing this story? And what will it cost us in the long run? Because at this rate, nothing is ever going to change. Now, one of the reasons that African men or black men give to justify why they don't want to date black women is because of their hair. They say that, oh, black women wear wigs, and as a man, there are times when I just want to play with their hair. I want to run my fingers through their hair. First of all, our hair is kinky. I mean, that's another video, but in this video, I just want to demonstrate something. I want to demonstrate how those very men who use that reason of wigs to justify why they don't date black women are the very men who are actually destroying black women. They are the ones who are destroying Africa. I mean, yeah, I'm going there and I'm going to demonstrate how. Now, if you watch the video that I posted yesterday about how African producers are destroying Africa, this is where I'm coming from. Now, if you do your research, you will find that African men dominate the movie industry. We have more African men who produce movies in Africa than we have women, rather. And we also have more men script writers than we have women, according to the numbers, although the trend is changing. However, the fact still remains we have more male movie producers in Africa than we have women. So, going back to the video that I made yesterday, I said, whenever I watch an African movie, the narrative is always the same, especially when it comes to rags to riches theme. The poor woman is always portrayed wearing her natural hair, but the moment she hits it big time, the moment she marries a rich man, the moment she gets a good career, the moment she gets that corner office, her hair changes. She's now wearing a blonde wig. She's now wearing a long, silky wig. The way I look at it, African men are showing us their preference. They are showing us exactly what they think about our natural hair. Why are we portraying our natural hair as being unfit for the boardroom? My argument is when African men write scripts and produce these movies, they are actually projecting their perception of beauty, consciously or unconsciously, into these female characters. They are showing us what they see as beautiful, what they prefer themselves. This recurring trope of African women glowing up by ditching their natural hair for weeks, reflects these men's embedded values. It reflects exactly what they prefer. Because how is it that most female characters, and I said in my last video, for the last 2 months, I've been watching African movies, and in 99% of the movies that I watched, the female characters make this drastic change when it comes to their hair when they move from poverty to wealth. What that suggests is that success or wealth is not compatible with natural African aesthetics. That is basically what you're telling our African people. You're saying that you can't have natural hair if you're successful because the two don't go together. We're reinforcing the idea that acceptable beauty is westernized beauty. That is what we're reinforcing. So this is why I'm saying, because that industry is male dominated, it is the men who are driving that narrative, because that is what I'm seeing. I mean, it is crazy. They're not even trying. I mean, forget the rags to riches theme. Women in those movies, they are always wearing wigs. It is only the few who wear their natural hair. And those few who wear their natural hair, they are always the ones struggling. This is what I don't get. And here we are crying, saying that, oh, people don't respect us and all that. How can they respect us when we don't even respect ourselves? When we go as far as portraying ourselves in such a negative light? Again, I'm not talking about choice here because, like I said, I wear a wig sometimes when I can't be bothered. However, this is about the narrative that we're perpetuating. And I'm saying it is mostly coming from black men. So there you have it. You've watched the videos that I posted on TikTok. What do you think about everything that I said? What I said about African producers and what I said about African men? Because honestly, I feel quite strongly about this. Yes, as I said, I also wear a wig myself. And also, before I conclude this video, I'll say this. Some of the wigs that are shown in these African movies, they are horrendous. They look awful. They look as if they've just been placed on there, like without a thought, without even making much of an effort. And I'm saying this is quite damaging to our children, especially. This is why we see our children not wanting to be themselves. It is because of these messages that they are constantly absorbing, messages that are telling them that you're not good enough, the way you look is not good enough. But when you change your hair, when you change your color, then you are accepted by society, then you are seen as rich, successful, and whatnot. I mean, what kind of Africa are we creating? What is going to happen to the next generation? I mean, this is what we've got to ask ourselves. What are we doing to our own people? So, yeah, as I said, I don't know what you think about everything that I've said. As always, feel free to chip in the comment section. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.